Hello, everyone, and welcome to this evening's offering of Medicine Buddha, facilitated by Lama Rod Owens. It is an honor and a privilege and a blessing to be able to gather and connect with all of you to do this work together today. So, thank you all for being here. If this is your first time in this space, no experience required. Sit back, relax, keep an eye on the chat. Everything that you need will be offered there. And we're just going to move with the water and other elements as they emerge. And but in order to help support you a bit, we have the usual suite of links that I want to share. Of course, the Medicine Buddha quick links, and on that, there's a whole bunch more information that's going to be getting sent out in the next few weeks. But for now, maybe you joined for today's iteration of the Winter Hours weekly live limited series with Lama Rod, this live podcast, which sounded like it was a great time today. If you missed it, like I did, the recording is available there at the link. Otherwise, it's going on also on the 20th and 27th. Check that out. A little bit of a Lama Rod unplugged by the sounds of it. Of course, the monthly live gathering with Lama Rod for Fierce and Fabulous Ones is coming up on Saturday, January 18th from 2 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, stay tuned for much more, lamarod.com/events. And as always, if this offering supports your liberation, please consider helping to sustain Lama Rod's teaching and activities of the world at donating at that link, lamarod.com/donate. And yes, also, it feels very important to say that it is Eli Rinbrown's birthday. So, I don't know, spirit fingers, magic, love signs, other expressions of joy for the birth of that particular being in this realm, and gratitude that we're able to share this space with you, Eli. Glad that you are here for another cycle. And without further ado, I'm happy to turn it over to Lama Rod.
Hey, all right, fantastic. Thank you, Eric, for a wonderful introduction. And thank you also always to Karen behind the scenes for holding the space as well. Karen is one of my elders and has lived so many lives. I don't want to go into it all, but I learned so much from Karen, right? And it's unfortunate that like Karen is now this kind of like term for white women that get on our nerves, which is unfortunate. Because you're the opposite for me. The very opposite. But yeah, I'm just feeling like full of gratitude, for everyone, today, and a happy birthday to Eli as well, who hosts this space often, who so fiercely embodies this kind of a like abolitionist, kind of stance, the pose of the abolitionists, right? And this beautiful attunement to Mother Harriet and the way that this comes through, you know, wrapped and held in this really deep compassion. Um, So we're really, quite fortunate to have you as a part of our community as well. You also, who I deeply admire as well, um, who you remind me of myself when I was your age. I don't know what the age that is, but it's not this age. um, and just deep gratitude for everyone being for joining us tonight for this profound practice of medicine Buddha, a practice that's been so deeply a part of, just my personal practice, a practice that, of course, I received directly from my teacher. as well. Not in the same way, you know, but the lineage has been transmitted so deeply to me. And it's such an honor to share that. It's an honor just to have people show up to shit that I do. Because, yeah, I mean, I remember the days when no one would show up. This was like the days in DC when I was teaching my first Dharma center in DC. And shout out to the DC Center as well. You know, I would have nights, no one would show up, you know, and that was like fine because I could go home early. You know, like I never took it personally, right? You know, um, but I just, you know, just really grateful for people who stick with me, you know, as I change, you know, and it's going to be a whole another year of change too. There's a lots of stuff. There's always the public stuff that I don't mind talking about and writing about and sharing about, but there's always the secret stuff, and you need secret stuff, right? This is an esoteric lineage. So we can't really always talk about everything, and nor should you, because so much of our spiritual transformation, I think, has to be kept to ourselves, right? It's not social media content, right? It's something that it's something intimate, it's something personal, it's something private that we keep to ourselves and we hold for ourselves. Because when you share it, other people become a part of it and it changes. You know, it shifts and maybe it's no longer yours anymore. And when other people get invited into it, then you start centering other people's needs and comfort and that really personal transformation. So you always want to keep some stuff to yourself, right? Which I think is really special, right? So yeah, it's all kinds of stuff happening, you know, as well. And you know, there's so much happening in the world. I know some of you are out in California, maybe in and around LA, and we're going to be practicing, you know, just to hold that and to send whatever blessings we can, just like we did this morning for the winter hours, just like whatever we can do together in practice. You know, we share. And as always, we continue to share this liberatory medicine for all beings because at the end of the day, Medicine Buddha is really about liberation, just like all the Buddhas are, right? I think we lose sight of that often in this tradition. Like we forget that we're trying to get free. I know that sounds weird, you know. It sounds weird to me because I only got into this shit because it was promising freedom, right? But you know, it's easy just to find yourself in practices like this where you actually may lose a real belief in freedom. And instead, it's replaced by a comfort, right? Oh, this feels good. Like I'm gonna show up and do my chanting and my visualizations and my prayers. And it just feels good. It feels good to be here. It feels good to do practice. It feels good to be a part of this community, which I agree it does. You know, this is a really wonderful community that gathers here on Monday nights. You know, but that's not the point of this. The point isn't to feel good. The point is to get free, right? Is to begin to dispel delusion, you know, and our hyper kind of fixation around dualism. Like it's about pointing us back towards our true teacher. And our true teacher is emptiness, actually, and space, right? The mother, right? You know, as an expression of space, the mother, right? So we're talking about today's sky, right? And the spaciousness of sky, you know. And I was telling the story this morning in the winter hours just about some wisdom, a teaching that I received from an indigenous elder several years ago who was just like, if you're going to honor the earth, you have to honor the sky because that's a sacred duality, right? So the earth as the mother, the sky as the father. And it was really important for me to get that, you know, and to start incorporating that into my teaching, into my work. But again, going back to this purpose of practice, we're here to get free together, and that's not always fun. You know, most of my practice hasn't been fun, honestly. Like if I was in this for fun, then I would just be miserable all the time. Like this hasn't been fun. This has been like shit. Like I don't want to like in the insight tradition, you can't talk like this. I spent many years teaching in insight institutions, big institutions, and they would give you a talk as a teacher. They're like, you can't say this, you can't say that, and one of the big sins is that you can't create doubts for people. Like you can't disparage the Dharma, right? Everything has to be rosy, and beautiful and sweet. And I was like, well, that's a lie though. Like you're like actually telling people to lie. You're telling teachers to lie to students, right? And that's not my reality. The truth is this has been hard as fuck, right? This has been a hard mountain to climb, right? And at the same time, I wouldn't choose anything else, right? Even if it has meant climbing the rough side of the mountain, as we used to sing in church, I would not choose anything else, right? Because this is the only thing that has made sense is the struggle to get free, right? The struggle to get free from who I think I am or what I think I am. The struggle to get free from my fear and from like my loathing and from all the ways that created harm for myself and others to get free from that. I this is nothing but deep gratitude, you know. And I know people, there's a lot of people in the traditional circles who think I should go, I should be more critical about everything about the abuse of teachers and everything, and I do what I can, but the other part of that is too that I wouldn't be alive without a lot of this community, you know, and I have to hold the complexity of that. And that the complexity itself is hard when we're in trauma. Like trauma and complexity do not work well together. The only time trauma and complexity works well together is in complex trauma. Right? That's when they pair together really well. But in terms of like tuning into the subtleties, the nuances, but this is not an age of nuance right now, of subtleties. It's either this or that. Right. And that's a part of the struggle of the practice. The ways in which you're being pulled to make these choices that aren't actually in line with the nature of Dharma, right? The Dharma is actually about complexity, it's about struggle, right? It's about getting clear, it's about brokenheartedness and taking brokenheartedness as a teacher, right? It's about moments of isolation and loneliness. It's about rage, right? It's about learning how to be with yourself even when you're the last person you want to fuck with, right? It's about letting ourselves grieve and cry. It's about letting ourselves be messy, right? It's about letting ourselves choose pettiness, right? Because we need to have a little fun, right? You know? It's about understanding that everyone is just like you, right? At the end of the day, everyone, even though they may not be able to say this, they may not be able to like articulate this in any way that makes sense, but at the end of the day, everyone wants to be free. At the end of the day, people don't want to suffer, right? If you get down to the bare bones of it, like we want to be happy, right? And we want to avoid suffering, but we may not understand how to do that. And so sometimes we end up investing in what is the opposite of liberation, the opposite of happiness, right? We get wrapped up in that because we don't know any better. And though, yes, I struggle so much in the practice and I've had to offer and give up so much, to be here, right? I am still like deeply grateful for getting this chance to make different choices, right? To really figure out what freedom is, right? And to just point everything, throw everything, hurl everything towards this liberation, right? And letting go of what the stories, what the literature says enlightenment should look like, or what the path itself should look like. That's all super romanticized, you know. And this it's a disservice when teachers promote that material without contextualizing it, right? It's not roses and and multicolored lotuses and rainbow lights, and rivers of honey and milk and all of that is not like amazing, beautiful queer light shows of all the deities like appearing. It's really not that. It's a whole bunch of mud, actually. Right? It's a whole bunch of having to get used to crawling through mud, right? And still, I am grateful for that because I have crawled through a lot of mud to get the fuck away from where I started, right? I know where I used to be, and I am nowhere near that anymore. And I was just thinking about some of the songs um, tonight, and there's a leak in this old building, which is an old classic that we sing, we still sing all the time when I go to church. There's a leak. There's a leak in this old building, and my soul has got to move. Ancestral wisdom. There's a leak, right? Some of y'all don't know what leaking is. Right? Some of you don't know what it feels like to be deflated, to be depleted, right? But there's a leak. Once you feel that leak, it's time for you to move. It's time for you to make a different choice. It's time for you to get up out of there and go somewhere else. And that's what I'm feeling this year. There's been a leak in some of the buildings, and it's time for me to move, right? And I don't know if I'm gonna wait around for people like I used to in the past. I don't know if I'm gonna accept the same excuses like I used to, right? Because this is polycrisis now, right? And if you choose to do the same old things in response to the polycrisis, it's like you're not gonna get anywhere. Like this moment is about us changing, not staying the same, right? We have to change. There's a leak in this culture. There's a leak in the collective. There's a leak in this country, in every country, I would say. Like not just like the United States, but I tell you, this experience in the United States that we're having is also a blessing, right? Because how do things get rebooted if they don't fall apart, right? And this is one of the hardest lessons, and most of you chose to be here for this life, so you can't complain to me. Or you can, but I'm gonna complain to you, and we'll just complain together. It's just to release it, then we'll get back to the work, right? Um, yeah, this moment, this systemic collapse, and what is it gonna look like? I don't know. Like I really don't. No one that I know knows. Like, and that's okay because you know what? You have what you need to meet the moment, right? That's how I practice. I don't sit around divining the future, even though I can, even though I do have skills to do that. It's just not useful because I'm here for the moment. right? I practice to respond to the moment with enough wisdom and care that I can muster up. And this is why we practice. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I sure as hell know what's happening right now, right? So the future becomes a trap. The future is full of anxiety, it's full of worry, it's full of fear, absolutely, right? And the future will be whatever the future is. But what do we have agency over? And that agency is rooted in this moment. I get to choose how to show up to this moment. And if you're practicing and struggling to choose to show up in care, in a gentleness, but also in a directness and a fierceness, if you're choosing to show up in awareness, if you're choosing to show up really wanting to feel as much as possible, if you're wanting to show up and to connect to this, I would say this beautiful complexity of everything that's gone into this moment, then you are creating the future that you will need to see, right? Practicing in this moment will give rise to the future that you deserve. And that ultimate future, particularly in this life, in this body, is actually death. Right? That's the future we're all moving towards. Sooner or later, we will die. And so everything that you're doing now in this moment is in preparation for death. Like, and not to have like a good death, right? Whatever a good death is, we all have different definitions of what a good death is, but like, we're not practicing necessarily to transition from the physical body. We're practicing to actually transition, to move into the process of transitioning, learning how to let go and to lean forward, to move forward, right? To leave this body and to say, you know what, I have done everything that I could do, or a lot of what I could do, right? I gave it my best try, right? And that's it. And that's the best, right? Right? I did what I could, no matter how many years you've been practicing, right? It doesn't matter that, like, maybe you may be at the end of your life and you just started practicing. It doesn't matter. You're practicing, right? And your 5 minutes of practicing may be even more potent than someone's 40 or 50 years of practicing, right? So it's just just so much, right? But we're moving on, like we're moving on, and we're picking up speed, right? And I want to ask you to stay with me, right? Because I'm not going to respond well if you're in the way, right? You might as well try to step in the way of a moving train if you think you're going to try to stop me, right? I'm Harriet, but I don't Harriet, I don't have a gun or anything. I don't really like guns, but you know, it's like, think of me as Harriet Tubman, honey. It's just like, if you start fucking with me, we're going all the way, right? There's an old teaching about Vajrayana, that Vajrayana Buddhism, which is this tradition. But this is contemporary Vajrayana. Um, and this old teaching that says that, like, Vajrayana is like a fast moving train, easy to get on, but not so easy to get off. you know, and I really like that, and I consent to that. You know. So we're moving fast, we're moving quickly. We're gonna get into some stuff this year, right? Which we've been, kind of, kind of like foreshadowing, last month, but we have a lot to get into this year, right? Um, but we'll continue. So we continue with our practice tonight or this evening or in the morning, wherever you are in the world, right? This is definitely the practice of medicine Buddha. This is, again, I'm Lama Rod. I use he, him pronouns. I'm here on this powerful lands, the powerful lands of the Creek, Muskogee, and Cherokee people, the elders who are still present on this land. Deep gratitude to the medicine of the caretakers, deep gratitude to the medicine of the land, the medicine of the elements, the medicine of the plant allies, deep gratitude to the ancestors, right? And the medicine of the ancestors, deep gratitude to the lineages, all the lineages that point us back to our most liberated expressions. Deep gratitude to the lineage holders, deep gratitude to the teachers, the shamans, the priests, the medicine people, right? The keepers of the medicines, the keepers of wisdom. Deep gratitude to the Buddhas, deep gratitude to the Bodhisattvas and the new saints, to all beings of light and liberation. Deep gratitude to those who offer their lives to make sure these teachings remained in this world system. Deep gratitude to the pioneers, the spiritual pioneers, the Buddhas, the historical great awakened ones of all traditions. We offer this deep gratitude to ourselves as well, right? For choosing to get free, to choosing to want to experience healing and wholeness, which is what Medicine Buddha is asking us and teaching us. Are we ready to get whole again? Are we ready to remember to put ourselves back together? Are we ready to be deeply saturated in love? Right? Are we ready to love others? Right? Are you ready? Are you really, really, really ready to open to the complexity of the phenomenal world? Right? Are you ready to really struggle? Right? Not just stopping at comfort, but to actually struggle past comfort into real generative transformation, right? Into discomfort as being one of the teachers, one of the gurus. Are you ready for that medicine? So when you're ready, finding your seat, just noticing the weight of your body, the seat rising to hold you. Feeling the weight of the body, feeling the seat as an expression of the earth rising to hold you. And what are you grateful for? As we continue deeper into the practice, reflect on what you're grateful for because you have to hold on to the gratitude right now. You have to hold on to it. So what are you grateful for? Allowing that gratitude, that energy of gratitude to really awaken your body, awaken your mind. And gratitude is so much is much like compassion too, because gratitude is an experience that protects us, that holds us, right? That keeps us kind of soft, right? That kind of dulls kind of the edginess, that we kind of move through the world using, but it softens, it tenderizes something. Right? Of course, that gratitude for me is just a doorway into joy, that even joy is accessible in this moment of crisis. And of course, that joy can also be a response to the truth of everything, which is the emptiness, right? And as you move through the world in this body, right, and that how we're being called to meet the moment with as much care and clarity as possible. Even as we're doing that, we're also still remembering what the nature of all of this is. That although this feels real, is also a dream at the same time. And we don't get to the dream by trying to bypass the reality, the materialism, right? We get to the dream by moving through the material world, moving through phenomena, experiencing phenomena, doing the messy work of crawling through the mud, getting your pretty outfit dirty. As I often say, don't wear Chanel if you're going to be crawling through mud. Save those pieces for a tea party, not for liberation work. And here, sometimes when I'm in a gratitude practice like this, I like to imagine that, my benefactors, the members of my seven homecoming circle, begins to join me. And we're sitting together, they're just holding me, we're holding hands, we're embracing to feel this care in the form of gratitude from all of our benefactors. Right? And if you're new to benefactor practice, our benefactors are all the beings who love us, living, spirit, deities, animals, plants, doesn't matter. Whatever being wants us to be free, happy, and resourced, not to be suffering, right? That is love. And we call all those beings to sit with us, to be with us. And our benefactors are grateful for us, even though it's hard to imagine that for some of us, but our benefactors are grateful. They're grateful when we call them into space, into relationship, into practice. They're grateful because we said yes, right? They're grateful that we're trying to listen. They're grateful that we're trying to make different choices in our lives to center care for ourselves and others. What does it feel like just to sit and to be held by these beings and to be wrapped in this energy of gratitude? And what would it feel like to imagine that we even invite Medicine Buddha to come and sit with us, allowing Medicine Buddha to take on the form of whatever feels appropriate for us, aligned with us. Who does Medicine Buddha become as we invite Medicine Buddha to join us? And as we invite Medicine Buddha, of course, we invite all the retinue as well, all the healing guiding spirits and deities and beings who are aligned with the liberatory healing of Medicine Buddha. So invite those spirits, those beings into the space. To even allow Medicine Buddha in whatever form they take to sit with you, to hold you, to be close. What does that feel like? What does that look like? What are you imagining? And as we sit, we turn our attention to the opening mantra, Om Mima Sangye Kino Soha. And we're imagining that as we begin chanting this to open up this deeper part of practice, that everyone around us, all of our benefactors, including Medicine Buddha and retinue, all begin to chant together with us. And starting with an elongated then going into the mantra 3 times, and then ending with another And again, letting ourselves be held, letting ourselves be a part of this community that we're calling in. We'll begin. Om. So Om Razange Hino So Om Razange Hino So Om And this energy, this community that's gathered around you, with Medicine Buddha being perhaps the main figure of this gathering. Allowing yourself to deeply absorb this energy, to be deeply held by this liberatory gratitude, which is actually just another form of compassion, love. Letting this opening to this energy and drinking deeply from this energy really ground you, allowing this energy to stabilize you in this moment. We begin to turn our attention to our main mantra, Teata Om Bekenze, Maha Bekenze, Rasa Sumongate Soha. And of course, you can chant along or just sit and listen, whatever you're feeling called to do. There's not a wrong choice, but just follow your intuition, do what feels natural, or do something that feels different. Right? But as we chant, just sitting, allowing, opening, dreaming, resting, letting the circle of beings take care of you. O te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das ist munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das ist munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ba begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, begenze, ma begenze, das munga gezoa. Te ada begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda begenze, ma begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda 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 na begenze, razı sumun gare soa, de anda ma 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 begenze, razı So just kind of staying right in your practice, I'm just going to turn my attention to offering up our prayers. Again, we call into the space all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, all the Dharma protectors, all benevolent members of the collective cosmic universal Sangha as well, all beings of light, all the guardians, protectors, spirits of the lands that we're living on, the guardians, protectors of the elements. We call into this space even all the beings across the universe who are at this moment also supplicating, practicing Medicine Buddha as well. And we offer these prayers to you, and we pray that you work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of all of these prayers. We begin by offering prayers to all those who are suffering. May we all have the strength and courage to find our inner peace and compassion. May we all be safe and protected. Offering prayers for all those suffering today. May they have moments of peace. Offering prayers to my daughter Roxy that she gets the guidance she needs to help manage autism, artistic overwhelm, and shut down in the manner that is most compassionate for herself. And prayers that I can find the guidance I need to help her with this more effectively than I am doing right now. Offering prayers that I get a well-paying job that allows us to move forward in dignity and safety, and that we can share and uplift others in the process. Offering prayers of gratitude for the support we have and continue to receive. Offering prayers for my husband, whose trauma is both pervasive and in some ways completely invisible to him. May he heal, may we heal together. Praying that all those who are homeless and displaced by climate events and war be held and loved. Offering prayers for Dee and all who are recovering in hospitals. Offering prayers that the hatefulness and anger so many are shouting and acting out may heal. May all have what they need to heal and be free. Offering prayers of awakening to the truth of what is, of full moon blessings for all, for release, rest, recalibration, of universal healing, and deep peace, of remembering the ancient ways of abolition, the abolition of carcerality in this realm, the liberation of all beings in all realms and timelines, prayers of gratitude for every breath of Dharma, for lengthening light, prayers for joy in the mundane and in the grays of winter, Asheo. Prayers for my heart that I may soften and embrace the parts of me that are triggered by being targeted at work. May I be able to grieve the loss and see others open, even if this one is closing. Prayers for all those who are struggling to find a vocation and the right livelihood that sustains them and brings healing in the world. offering prayers to all whose safety is uncertain. May all beings be safe, well, and whole. Offering prayers for Martin as he journeys through the bardo and his family and friends as we make sense of that loss. For Asia and her family, protect her from violence, judgment, shame, and incarceration. Offering prayers for rest and fulfillment and the opening of new sustainable pathways for work that also support my work. Offering prayers for those rebuilding after the earthquake that just occurred in Tibet. Offering prayers for Richard's upcoming wrongful conviction hearing. Offering prayers for my health and protection in the face of an upcoming surgery and several chronic medical problems. Offering prayers for protection from spiritual, physical, psychic, financial, and legal attacks. Prayers for being enveloped by the love and safety of my ancestors. And deep gratitude for our exiting crisis. Prayers for all my beloveds to have all they need, and for all those I hate and who have harmed me to be free and awakened by love. Prayers for Father Ruiz's safe return. Prayers for the deep healing of our ancestral lines. Prayers for my health as I experience this illness. May I heal quickly and lean into rest in the meantime. May I have the courage to listen to what this suffering is trying to teach me. And offering prayers for all those experiencing loss from the fires in LA. May they know they are held in community, and may they have the space and courage to grieve. Offering prayers for my dear friend as he works to remember his wholeness and his mental and emotional health. May he find the healing modalities that will best serve this healing and be given the resources needed to engage with them. Offering prayers for all who struggle to get free from patterns of addiction and compulsion. May all beings be free and safe and experience relief. Offering prayers for David Jones to heal from staph infection, blood clot, and liver failure. Prayers for my mother to heal from trauma, brain injury, and her current illness. Offering prayers for everyone seeking warmth and food tonight. May they receive support from the merit of our collective practice. Prayers to continue opening my heart to all those in need. May I be willing to stay and to help. May I receive the care and healing available to me so that I can get free as soon as possible. Offering prayers that I find a salve for this deep loneliness, that my beloveds are safe and protected, and that we get free swiftly and completely. Offering prayers for June Sharon to continue and continue and continue receiving care and support. Prayers for clarity and peace with my siblings toward providing the best care possible for our mother. Offering prayers for Jeff, his grief and liberation. Prayers for Sandy, her grief and liberation. Prayers for Jeffrey. Prayers for Harvey. Prayers for the H family as they lay their matriarch to rest. Offering prayers for Stacy Grove. After her biopsy today, may she recover easily from the procedure and feel supported as she waits for the results. Offering prayers for my daughter, Hollister, husband Andy as they deal with their children, Graham and Catherine, both of the autism spectrum. May they find an occupational therapist who can teach Graham how to swallow a pill so he can take the ADHD medicine he needs so badly to be able to live with more comfort and ease in his body. May they all get more sleep and feel capable to handle the continuous stress they're currently experiencing. And offering prayers for myself that triggers from prior traumas that can be healed and processed so that I can continue to feel connected to the divine, to myself, to my practice, to communities of beings around me. I know all this is completely connected in love, but often I can't feel that when triggered. Offering prayers for everyone suffering from war in the Middle East, the Ukraine, Sudan, for people everywhere experiencing great fear and loss who need heat, warmth, food, shelter, and the feeling of being loved and cared for. And we're offering prayers for BL, that she heal miraculously from pancreatic cancer, that her death from this realm is written, that it be with the least possible suffering possible. Prayers for my marriage, prayers for my spouse, that their loved ones have everything they need. May my spouse have everything they need to heal and to make a sustaining livelihood. Prayers for my child and his sense of safety, joy, and love. May they be always palpable. Prayers for Lama Rod that he have everything he need. May all be free soon, soon, soon. And offering prayers for the people suffering from war in the Middle East, Ukraine, Sudan, for people everywhere experiencing great loss who need heat, warmth, shelter. Um, and prayers for Suzanne and Carlos living with cancer and for treatment. Every prayer for a long-term to cease fire in Gaza before next Monday. Prayers for the release of Leonard Peltier before Biden leaves office. And we continue to pray for all beings who are still struggling through climate disaster. We continue to offer prayers for those in this region up in North Carolina still struggling to recover from the hurricane. We offer prayers for all those out in LA who are struggling with the fire there. We offer prayers to all beings who are struggling through the imbalance of the climates and the elements. We continue to pray for the liberation of all of us from the systemic harm and violence of carceral systems. May we all get free as quickly as possible. May these systems be abolished as quickly as possible, and may this happen now. And may it be so. So just turning our attention back into the mantra. And as we go back into the practice, I encourage you, or just invite you, just imagine, as we often do at this stage of the practice, and if you feel resourced enough right now in the practice, just to begin to offer some of this energy to people, to places, to lands, right, that need the balance of this energy from Medicine Buddha, which is really the energy, the grace of all the Buddhas as well. To offer this to settle the fires, to dry the waters, to calm the winds, to invite balance where there is imbalance, to invite water where there's droughts, right? To invite coolness where there is just an overheating, right? Just to open our hearts and to let the blessings of Medicine Buddha and really the blessings of all of our benefactors move through us into the world so that we become channels of this light, this wisdom from all the Buddhas, not just Medicine Buddha, but all the Buddhas. And we begin again. Begenze ma begenze razuzungati soa te ana begenze ma begenze razuzungati soa te ana begenze ma begenze razuzungati soa te ana 마비근세 라스 수문가레소아 대야자 움비근세 비근세 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 마비근세 라스 수문가레소아. Just returning your attention back to your circle of benefactors, to the medicine Buddha that's appeared with you, and thanking all these beings for their gratitude, thanking them for their generosity and love and support. And we imagine that these beings, including Medicine Buddha and their retinue, begins to dissolve into white light. And this white light begins to form and shape itself into a shield around you. And this shield, this barrier of light, is the protection of all the beings who love you, that is always present. And we have only to remember this protection and to offer gratitude for this shielding, this protection. We have only to do that in order to strengthen it, to reinforce it when we feel like we really need to. But this is always here for you to take refuge in, as you should always be taking refuge within this protection, actually. And may this protection, this shield, this field of light and love stay with you strong and durable for all the days of this life and even into the bardo and spirit world. May you always be protected from this moment to the next. And may this protection awaken your courage to show up for each moment. May you be protected, and may you share this protection with your beloveds, with your communities. May it be so. And when you're ready, beginning to reawaken your body through some movement, a few deep cleansing breaths as well. And we'll turn our attention to our closing prayer. I know Reverend Yolanda ain't trying to quote some Shirley Caesar, because if you get Shirley Caesar into this space, she ain't leaving. Let me tell you. Listen, I grew up on Shirley Caesar. Like we have my mom has a shrine to Shirley Caesar. She took me to see Shirley Caesar when I was young. She was we went to Shirley, oh Mother Shirley. Right, so we'll just we'll recite Shantideva's prayer 3 times in the box right there. We begin. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as Earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as Earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as Earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Yeah, amen. I'm gonna just close us out with another song, but um, does anyone have any final words or a blessing they would like to share into the space while I'm getting this done?
Will also protect time for anyone else who would like to get the final word in as well. But just as an aside, thank you all for your presence in prayer today. Thank you so much, Lama Rod, for your offering. Again, dropped in the chat if you were able to practice generosity at this time to help keep the kitchen cooking. so to speak. That is very helpful. Please do consider that if you are able. And Medicine Buddha quick links where there's all kinds of different practice supports as well. Dear Sarah, what's up?
I just wanted to say I find it really helpful to remember to do these practices in the dark hours of the night when I'm having insomnia.
Yeah.
And it's a great, because everything's so clear then. There's not a lot of distraction.
Yeah, thank you.
And
That's really good too. Like I have a lot of like really intense, profound practice late at night as well, too, in the stillness and the as we would call in certain circles the witching hour, which I think there's something real about that, you know. But there's something, you know, as I talk about, you know, in New Saints, you know, I love like every night, you know, even it doesn't matter how cold it is, you know, I sit outside on the porch like late at night, you know, I mean late, I mean not like in the middle, like, but like, you know, when no one else is around, right? You know, close to midnight, when the freaks come out. And this is Atlanta, there's a lot of freaks. But anyhow, you know, just sitting there and just like listening to the natural world, listening and just doing practice and doing offerings, right? Tobacco offerings, you know, whatever I'm offering that night, right? You know, there's a stillness there, um, that we can use, right? Absolutely. So thank you for that.
also,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for talking about the sky,
Uh-huh.
because I find looking at the sky restores perspective.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, of course, we used to do sky gazing many years ago when I first started out. I started out in Dzogchen practice. And, you know, a lot of our retreats were just going outside, you know, particularly when we all transitioned to Wonderwell. Um, we would just go outside and just gaze at the sky. And that was a mind opening. The sky, the mind, that's what we call it, the sky like mind. I mean, I talk about it, right? And you
Yeah,
say,
it's good. It's
yeah,
good for us. My mother was a painter. She taught me how to do that when I was a little child because she was always like painting the tops of the trees in the sky.
yeah,
Oh, this vastness. What a
yes,
blessing.
yes, the vastness. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna
Thank
play.
you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Um, I think, um,
I want to pass on a blessing. It's really short.
uh-huh.
This is from Mother, it's Rachel. This is from Mother Lena Mae Perry down here in North Carolina, 84 years old. Her favorite phrase is stay prayed up.
Yes. Yeah,
That's my blessing for the night.
that's it.